Good morning. This morning I had an amazing idea about reality, how we each are each other. So that's the topic of this quick video. We each are each other. So what does that mean? So the example is like this. A friend of my channel commented about food. And then I was I was in the passenger seat, and there was a homeless guy with a sign in the middle of the road, and I said, it's probably just some crazy person. And then he shook his head, no, like I'm not a crazy person, like he was speaking directly to me. And then I passed him by, and then he looked at me, single me out as a person to look at. And he kind of reminded me of Jose. So, if you follow along my channel, there's the synchronicities of this world are insurmountable in terms of how much wisdom and connection there is to everything else. But in this regard, what it taught me was that was Jose. Jose spoke to me, and then Jose was in the middle of the street. Now, obviously, on a practical level, it's not Jose. So what's going on here? So one explanation that people often say is, really, we each are each other, right? And eventually we incarnate into one of these people that we like, dislike, that we know, that we don't know. So that's one explanation. And it's such an important topic that it may be distractions in your household or even in my household. Now, the person was clearly not Jose per se, so what is he? So the way I understand it is everything happens simultaneously. So Jose is everyone, and Spiral King is everyone. And so we are both everyone simultaneously. So another person passing by will say, oh, that's Spiral King. Oh, that's Jose. Oh, that's Jeffrey, whatever. So you have all these names that just apply to the person. Now, why did that happen? That the same time Jose interacted with me was approximately the same time that a guy who looked like Jose, who had an extraordinary high level of consciousness, because he was looking directly at me and answering my claims that he's crazy, by shaking his head, no, I'm not crazy. And so what's going on here? So really, you can say that the soul is timeless. The soul is basically what we understand as God. It's timeless, it's everywhere, it's all things. So anything that's applicable in any time period is going to be diffused and come out at any given time. So it's not to say that you become that specific person, rather you are already that specific person. You're everything possible. And so one way in which humans are able to pick up this reality is that person's energy or that person's soul coming out and appearing in someone else, reminding you of that person. And it's as if that person would have said something similar had he been in your proximity. That's one way to understand that situation. Now, it doesn't mean it's the person's soul, or could it be you? It's your way of viewing that person's soul. And the answer is it's both. There's always an outside and an inside that go together. And this is what Ken Wilber meant when he talked about holons, that the inside is outside, the outside is inside. Each is one whole, but there's different wholes, meaning there's different ways of viewing it because there's different truths within an entire truth. And from another standpoint, that truth gets sidled. So I'm not an employee of Ken Wilber, but I hope to be. This is not something that I've been promoting to make Ken Wilber famous. It's just something that's the truth that you realize as you evolve. And I hope that I can work for Ken Wilber so that I can keep promoting these truths and teaching them as long as possible. So that's a side thing there. But the answer to are we each other is yeah, but it's not as linear as people say, in which when I die, I'm going to become someone else. It's kind of depressing, but that's just the reality of existence. No, it's not that. It's you are already someone else, and therefore you don't have to be anyone else. Each person is their own eternity. But in alternate states of consciousness, what you do perceive is something like, okay, that's me. When I die, I'll probably become one of these guys. Because that's a linear perspective, which is framed from the ego perspective. So it's an ego teaching, which is not to say it's not valid. It's just it's harmonizing the logic system of the human brain with loftier things like the no self and no time and no differentiations. All right, so we're going to end it here. This is a very important topic, advanced, and I think it applies to everyone. So keep that in mind as you go about your daily life. All the best.